What's up, gamers, and welcome to another Throne and Liberty video. In this video, we're going to break down the latest news, and it's not all good news. We've seen some setbacks, there's still questions about the looming release date, and I want to explore the latest of what has happened and who has stepped down and the financial performance of this game. We'll also dive into y'all's thoughts about this and also PAX Day later in this video, but let's go ahead and get started. Over in Korea, obviously, Throne of Liberty has not performed as well as they would hoped, and in a news post on the website, and according to the MTN Korean website, they say that they are going to be focusing also on releasing a mobile version of the game, as the initial performance has been sluggish. Now, I think anybody can tell you who's a fan of MMORPGs, there is a dramatic cycle that they all go through, and as long as the developers don't give up, you could see something like Lost Ark happen to this game, especially when the game is officially released in the West. Now, the Throne of Liberty camp has recently organized under the direct leadership of Captain Choi Moon-young, with producer An Young Wook stepping down from his position. Obviously, the plans to launch with North America through Amazon within this year, but also preparing to enter into the East Asia markets such as Taiwan is on the table. Obviously, others have said that they are actively considering development of that mobile version, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Personally, this doesn't give me a lot of hope. It doesn't mean necessarily bad things. We're seeing mobile become a whole different beast with the power of processing, with the power of cloud. But we all remember how gamers reacted to the autoplay feature, which the developers have changed and moved. And I do wonder if that change alone has had a negative impact or a positive impact. We obviously can't live in an A/B testing world, so we'll never truly know. But ultimately, what we see here is the producer has resigned from Throne of Liberty. We've seen Throne of Liberty continue to perform poorly in Korea, with them kind of banking on the Amazon global release, kind of the saving grace. And obviously, NCSoft is considering a mobile version of Throne in Liberty, which would be interesting to say the least. But the good news in all of this is there are so many interesting developments happening in the MMORPG space as we speak. New World is about 2 weeks away from their big June announcement. Also, in terms of Summer Games Fest, we could learn more about Throne of Liberty and when the potential release date actually is. If they're targeting the back half of this year, summer seems to make the most sense, but you're going to be going up against juggernauts such as Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft, let alone whatever they decide to push out to us in June, hopefully in June, for New World. That all being said, guys, this is an MMORPG channel, and I do thank you so much for hanging out with me. I want to shout out Rods and Ben for hitting that sub button here on the channel. I want to earn your sub, and if I do, sound off in the comments. That way I can officially welcome you guys to the channel. So thank you guys so much for that support. I want to spend the rest of this video in our community discussion. We've got a couple of different posts that you guys have made in the comments, and I'd like to kind of explore that with you as well. We talked a little bit, obviously, about Throne of Liberty and its struggles. So if you guys want to weigh in on that, I'd love to have those discussions with you in future videos. But Xenogoth says, glad this and PAX Day are going this year. And if you guys haven't seen the PAX Day Alpha 2, I honestly think it went really well. The devs have recently put out a big post on some of the lessons that they learned, and I'll be covering that for you guys here in future videos as well. But that in and of itself actually gives me a lot of hope. These are more niche because obviously Throne of Liberty is more PvP oriented. PAX Day, they have that PvP orientation as well, but also really driven into the sandbox style, and it's going to be interesting to see, and hopefully that they do well financially, as that game is also going to be planning on launching an early access. The whole point of bringing these two games up is that I do wish MMORPGs would take the early access approach whenever they're just kind of managing the release. I think the hype and crash that these games go after is something that's actually actively working against the MMORPGs that we love, and the ones that continue to work and put in the work. Final Fantasy XIV is a great example, but they are also an exception because most companies don't do what Square Enix did. And I think Square Enix had to do what they did in order to them save their company, even though if you guys haven't been keeping up with the Square Enix news, they're not looking great right now. And hopefully their pivot to actually being a multi-platform publisher again will end up being a strong one, especially because now they're trying to get back into the Western market. So it's clear that the previous leadership probably was making some silly decisions, and now the new leadership has to kind of clean up that mess. But I'll be keeping you guys up to date on all of that as Don Tril is getting ready to rock and roll, and I've already secured my pre-order, so I'm looking forward to experiencing that. Anyhow, the other community discussion comment we got from Lesky says, I've been following this game's development for several years now, and it's very exciting to see these developments. That said, I do gather correctly that Throne of Liberty will be a high-octane guild game. So far, it strikes me that if you're not in a large guild, that you're likely going to get steamrolled often. I truly hope that I am wrong here, because joining a large guild rather than dealing with the leadership politics never sits too well with me, and I love to hear what anybody's thoughts are on the matter. So it's important to note regarding guilds is at this time, the guilds really start off at 50 members, and you have to do various different guild milestones to unlock bigger guilds. So you probably might not see that happen in the long run. It's going to be interesting to see ultimately how that plays out with enough time, because you tend to kind of see people wanting to gravitate into A or B options. Obviously, I want to be a part of the winning team. That mindset ends up driving more and more people into obviously that bigger guild approach, which we've seen happen time and time again in these MMORPGs. But personally speaking, I honestly, the thing that is the most interesting will be, does the PvP community show up in a way that they really want to succeed with everything they're doing? Now, all that being said, guys, thank you so much for spending some time with me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully, guys, I will see you in the next one. But until then, take care.